Welcome to Crosstalk Solutions. My name's Chris and this is UDM-Pro Complete Setup Video 6, where we're going to be talking about Dual WAN Failover. But first, if you are enjoying this video tutorial series, make sure you give a like down below and also subscribe to Crosstalk Solutions. Both of those things are completely free and it really helps out the channel. Also, make sure you follow us on Twitter at CrosstalkSOL. And if you'd like to just buy me a beer, there's a link down below to do that too. All right, Dual WAN with the UDM-Pro. Unfortunately, the only type of Dual WAN that is available with the UDM-Pro is failover, right? So it would be wonderful if Ubiquiti would eventually put in some sort of load balancing so that you could load balance between two different WAN connections rather than it being a simple failover. But you know, maybe at some point they will get there with the software. So here we are at the dashboard of UniFi, and if I click on Settings and then I click on Internet, we can see that right now I have a WAN connection at 10.1.10.189, but I have nothing in my WAN 2 connection. So let's take a quick look at the UDM-Pro itself so we can see where to plug in our secondary WAN. Okay, so here's my network rack. This is the UDM-Pro that I'm using for this tutorial series. We can see right here that I have my normal WAN connected into the RJ45 WAN port, but there's also this 10 gigabit SFP plus port, which can also be used for WAN. Now, what I have plugged in there is a single SFP module. I'm just using a regular SFP, not an SFP plus, just because I don't have any spare SFP plus modules. And I have it connected to this LC to LC fiber cable. The other end of this fiber cable is not plugged into anything at the moment, but what I'm gonna do is plug it in right up here into this switch above, which connects out to my regular standard non-test network. So UDM-Pro is my test network. This switch is not my test network. This is my actual main production LAN, which is connected to the internet with this Edge Router 4 that you see right here. So I've plugged in the other side SFP module. You can also use, by the way, what's called a DAC cable here, or you can use an SFP module that has RJ45 instead of fiber, the LC to LC fiber, but this is what I happen to have on hand. So we are going to plug in the LC to LC fiber. We can see that we did get a link almost immediately, and now let's go ahead back into the UniFi interface to see how it looks. All right, back in UniFi now, and we can see that I now have a WAN 2 with a green link, meaning that we are all good. We're connected gigabit, and the IP address that I received was 192.168.200.238. Now, in most cases, if you are not running a lab environment like I am, both of these IP addresses would ideally be actual routable WAN IP addresses out to the internet. Again, in my case though, these are both test networks, so they're both NATed IP addresses. Now, if I click on WAN 2, we have some options. I can click on Advanced. We can set a separate DNS server for WAN 2. We can give it a VLAN ID if our ISP requires a VLAN ID. We can do MAC address cloning, again, sometimes something you might have to do for your ISP. You can enable smart queues. And then for load balancing, they have this setting that says failover only, but that's the only option. So just the fact that they have this setting here for load balancing gives me hope that eventually it will be either some sort of load balanced setup instead of just failover only. And then down here we have IPv4 connection. I have mine set up as DHCP, but if your ISP has a static IP address, you can also set that up statically. And then down below for ISP capabilities, this is where you can put your anticipated upload and download speed, which goes towards the UniFi experience algorithms on the front page and other such things. Okay, so we're not going to have to touch anything as far as the advanced configuration, but let's bring up a ping here. So I have a ping going out to 1.1.1.1. We can see that I'm getting about 14 milliseconds out to that location. And we are now going to pull the plug on our primary WAN. So that is the RJ45 WAN connection in the UDM-Pro. Let's go ahead and pull that plug now. All right, I have pulled WAN 1, and now watch what happens here. Request timed out once, twice, and now we're pinging again because it has now successfully failed over. Now, interestingly, if we go back to internet, look what we see now. We see that WAN, our primary WAN, oops, didn't mean to click on it. Our primary WAN interface has now switched to the IP address of WAN 2. So they both say 192.168.200.238. Very, very strange. You'd think that there would just be some sort of indication as to which WAN connection you're currently running on, as opposed to actually just switching the IP address of your WAN, which can be a little bit misleading. All right, so let's go ahead and plug the RJ45, the original WAN, back in and see what happens now. All right, plugging in 3, 2, 1, click. There we go. We shouldn't see much of any sort of drops down here, but what we should see is within a few seconds, there we go, we see that the IP address for the WAN connection, and we did actually get one drop, but the IP address for the WAN connection switched to 10.1.10.189, which again is the NATed IP address for my main WAN connection. Okay, so there you have it. There is a look at the Dual WAN Failover in the UDM-Pro. In our next video, we're going to be talking about client VPN setup. So stay tuned for that one, and we will see you guys in the next video.